I've always got along with my mom. I'm a mama's boy, so that
What do you call your mama?
mama,
You call her just mama?
mama.
Okay, okay. So mama,
Do you listen to your mom?
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Okay, so buckle up for another just brilliant Iowa parole hearing. This man has a good time date of 2035, yet 6 years into his sentence. He is up for parole. I'm going to tell you something that you would have never have guessed by watching this parole hearing, and that is he has 100, a perfect 100 convictions on his record. With that, let's jump in.
All right. Why don't you talk to us about what was happening, what was going on in your life when you committed the crimes that you are currently incarcerated on?
I was on alcohol. I was going through a relationship that was toxic and just doing stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. Being in places with myself that I shouldn't have been.
Why don't you tell us about those places?
I was caught up with a lot of wrong in myself, and I allowed that wrong to make me do things that I shouldn't have done.
What did you do?
Broke the law, which got me in prison.
I understand that. Can you tell us what you did? What laws did you break? What crimes did you commit?
Burglary, stalking, and eluding.
Why don't you talk to us about the burglary? What did you do?
Broke a window and climbed through it.
To where?
Excuse me?
She said where?
Oh, in Davenport.
Whose window did you break and why were you climbing through it?
Angela,
Why did you climb through it?
domestic situation.
Why were you stalking someone?
In my mad, in my feelings. Wanted to see what was going on.
All right, I'm going to move to my colleagues to see if they have any questions. We're going to start with Renee.
All right, Mr. Singleton, we need to chat. So you're here for a habitual person, which means you have a lot of past history of stalking and hurting women. So if I were to consider moving you forward today, what can you tell me about how anything that you've learned about treating women that would make me think that people would be safe if I were to move you forward?
You want the truth?
Yes.
I know not to put my heart in situations that it shouldn't be in.
Okay.
I know how to put myself in situations that I shouldn't be in.
Okay.
So with that being said, I've grown in that.
Well, that's good. So you're saying in the past you put yourself in places you shouldn't have been. So explain to me, is that like the wrong people, the wrong locations? Talk to me about that.
When you talk about my heart, it's really when it comes to love and being attached to something, being committed to something, anything that I involve myself with.
Yeah.
A lot of times I just put my heart in the wrong situations.
Okay. So then you get your heart in that situation. So what makes that turn violent?
Love, the fact of I don't like rejection sometimes, and that puts me in situations that I shouldn't be in.
Correct. But do you think love should equal violence?
No, I won't ever say that no matter what situation I'm in. No,
But that's where it's been in the past for you.
that's where it's been.
Yep. So we're looking at changing that. So what, if you were in a relationship moving forward, what would be different?
Communication, trust, allowing that person to be free and be who she is.
Yeah.
Without me trying to keep up on that every second of the day.
Right. So talk to me about Angela. What is your relationship with her today?
I don't have one with her.
And what's your intentions in the future?
I don't have one with her.
These are good answers. These are really good answers. You're doing good. All right. So if you were to go out this time, you know, you're back when it comes to habitual, right? About a person, that means we've done this a long time. So what's different moving forward? If we were to move you forward today, what are you doing differently this time?
I didn't understand that question at all.
You don't understand what you're gonna do different if you let you move forward?
Understanding the question you asked.
All right, let me restate. So if we let you out today, right, you got that part.
Yeah.
What are you going to do differently so you're not back here?
Moving forward,
Mhm.
continue on my journey with God and get a job and try to live the life that I never had.
Okay, what do you want to do for work?
Anything that comes my way, I'm just gonna be honest. Anything that comes my way, I'm taking.
Okay, and who are your supports in the community?
My mom so far, I haven't really reached beyond that because I don't know. I haven't been out.
Okay. Think that's all my questions for right now.
All right, thank you, Renee. James?
Yes. How you doing today, Mr. Singleton?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, and appreciate you, taking time to be able to share with us just your personal position on relationships. Okay, so in talking about relationships, if we were to release you going forward, what does a new relationship with someone else look like for you?
I hope I don't have to look that far because I don't plan on having a relationship no time soon. But if it does happen, I hope everything that was discussed today comes to fruition. I mean, I hope change happens,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I hope for.
Okay.
I hope that in honesty, I hope that I have grown. That I'm just not sitting here selling y'all some BS story. I hope that I have grown, and if you let me tell it, I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't make y'all see that without proving.
Well, one of the things you mentioned to one of my colleagues, you had mentioned communication. Remember that word?
Yeah.
And so when we're doing this, your communication back to us and your sharing from what you have learned today that you didn't have that placed you there helps us to kind of gauge some information on the progress that you state that you have made. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay, so in communicating with us in terms of relationships, I heard you say you're not looking for one. We know how that is when we're out, okay? And we have communications. How in depth are those communications that you're looking for?
I don't want a relationship. So I mean, whatever level that communication that I'm on, it's not looking for a relationship.
Okay.
I'm not looking for that at all. I've been there, I've done that.
Well, as you know, relationships can be simple. Relationships can be when you're starting off at a job, you take whatever, as you stated, whatever comes your way, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so there's relationships around whatever comes your way.
Well, I won't know how those communications go until I'm in that situation. But I know I got work ethic. That's my least word.
Okay. Well, part of the concern is that when you look at your past and see, you talked about heart, you talked about love. And so from what I hear, at least from what it sounds like to me or what I gathered from it, is that, when you get disappointed, then that's when other ugly emotions come out of you.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
That's right on the nail on the head.
Okay. And so when those ugly emotions come out of you, what do you think are some of the things that you have worked on that helps you to deal with emotional type situations better today than you did before what led you to be where you're at?
Well, first, not forgetting that I have grown up. Secondly, knowing that I can't control everybody else, but I have all control over myself. And that's where not responding to those situations is gonna come from. As long as I don't get that, I feel like I'm a process.
Okay, okay.
That's how I feel. That's how I
And I appreciate it, because that's what we want to know. We want to know how you feel. It's kind of like when I hear you said that part of your support, the only support, is your mother
for so far.
so far. And so if you look at a relationship with your mother, what does that look like to us? Not knowing who your mother is, but respect that you do have for her. What does that look like?
I've always got along with my mom. I'm a mama's boy. So that no matter how long I've been away from my mom, no matter how long I've been around my mom, I've always been a mama boy. So that relationship is intact.
Intact.
Yeah.
So she's aware of some of the past bad relationships you have been in. What do you call your mama?
Mama.
You call her just mama? Okay. Hey, okay. So mama, what has mama shared with you about some of your relationships and how you chosen how to deal with your relationship?
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yes, sir.
My mama said, you're getting too old for this shit. So it's time for you to do a job. It's time for you to get out and do what you need to do. If you want me to be purely honest, that's
correct. That's mom. Okay. So if I'm hearing you say that, was she appreciative of the way you responded and the way you reacted to past relationships?
I think so, but there's one thing about my mom, she ain't dumb. You know, she knows her four boys. So we can't just come to my mom and say something and just my mom automatically believe it. You know what I mean? My mom know when we lying to her. She's always known. So right now, at this point in my life, I think she trusts the change.
Trust you. Okay. 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 And so, okay. And then now when I go back further, when you were talking about what led you here and how toxic the relationship was, and alcohol played a part in that. How do you prepare for toxicity?
This is my test. And the real test doesn't start until I get out. I can see what I'm prepared for when I hit the street just by being tested in here. So I know how to conduct myself now. If that makes sense.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I missed it.
I said if that makes any sense as far as being prepared.
And I guess, part of that is just having a plan. And what that plan is that, does that plan include support? And you initially said that you don't know what that looked like because your support is just your mom. You haven't engaged or met anybody since you've been in. So, I'm there with you there, but, having that foundation of support that you're willing to listen to is going to be a healthy transition for you, or hopefully a healthy transition for you and stuff.
That's the whole object.
Okay. Hey, those are my questions for you. I appreciate you sharing with me and being who you are.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, James. Mr. Singleton, I just have a couple follow-up questions. Have you ever held down a job?
I've had many jobs. I haven't been there over 2-3 years. That hasn't happened, but I have worked.
Okay, what kind of jobs?
I worked at Steak and Shake, Golden Corral, Arby's, Belgian Village, but that was in Illinois.
Okay, so fast food.
Yeah, fast food.
What kind of work did you do at fast food?
I worked in the kitchen and some I worked on the line.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Washing dishes.
Oh, okay.
Some.
Pardon me?
At some of those jobs, I was washing dishes, but at some
Okay.
jobs, I was on the line.
Okay. So you weren't like ever outward facing and working with the public?
Yeah, I've worked on the line.
Okay, I thought by line, okay,
On the line means like making the sandwiches and sending them out.
right. But you were never like the cashier or working directly with the public?
No.
Okay. And did you feel good about that?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Okay. Do you listen to your mom?
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Okay. Can you talk to us about your gang affiliation
I'm not. I stopped that at 21.
in 21?
Yeah, I was 21 years old when I stopped that.
Oh, when you were 21.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying that with us.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Tech to Connect.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Connect. I was before Tech to Connect, I was closed minded, and I only seen levels of like just me. You know what I mean? But Tech to Connect has made me stop being closed minded. So I like Tech to Connect.
Okay. What'd you like most about it?
Master plan. Now I'm doing anger management. I mean, just a variety of different things that gets me out of my comfort zone.
Okay. Was it the story that was shared by the author that helped you want to dig into it?
Tech to Connect.
Huh?
Or you talking about the master plan?
Yep. Did you read the book from Chris?
Yeah. It was the person actually, because
Yep.
I mean he was speaking of I got life sentence perspective, but
Yep.
it still made sense because I'm in that environment. I've been in that environment before, and I'm in it now. So
Mhm.
I can connect with that.
Okay. Okay. And did I read that you wanted to continue working with Tech to Connect if you were moved forward?
Yeah, I told them that.
Yeah, that's what I thought I read. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I have any other questions right now. Renee or James, do you have follow-up?
I do not.
Okay. Mr. Singleton, now's the time for you to give us your best pitch of why we should move you on and support the department's recommendation at this time. It's your opportunity to share.
I mean, when it comes to life, I may be a late bloomer, but I haven't ever been slow to what I need to do. It just took me a long time to understand what I needed to do. And I think that I'm ready.
Okay. Anything else you want to share?
No, ma'am.
All right. Now's the time we're going to go into discussion. You're going to be able to see us and hear us, but it won't be a time to participate. Once we have a decision, I'll come back. I'll deliver it directly to you, answer any questions you might have, and that'll conclude today's interview.
Okay.
All right, colleagues.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm going to support the department's recommendation to parole to mom. I thought this was a good interview. I can see how he's really done well with Active and with Tech to Connect and is making some connections in his brain about how things should be different, which is really important because we have a long history of not doing it differently. And so that's really important to me. And talking to me about how he plans to be in relationships with others and see that differently and making those connections was really important. I would ask for a 40A. I think there's substance use there. I think there also should be mental health for counseling. I think he needs to talk to somebody about how he's thinking about some of these things and give him some other tools besides violence when things don't go the way he wants them to. And then I would also recommend a 50A because there's some public intox histories in all this mess.
All right, thank you, Renee. James?
Yes, thank you. When I was, initially just listening to Mr. Singleton, I was trying to gauge, where he's at where he is at from his growth. And having had a chance to talk with him and hearing him, he seems very strong in his convictions in that he feels he's better today than he was. And he recognized and realized that with the previous relationship, how toxic it was and how under the influence he was. And those things didn't bring out the best emotions in trying to troubleshoot or handle um, um, his relationships. Looking at his past, I still have a raised eyebrow. Just the simple fact that um, he, when he loves and his heart is involved, he loves hard. And when people have a tendency to break his heart or frustrate him, knowing how he's going to handle those situations. So that would be my raised eyebrow concern. But I am, as my colleague said, in support of DOC in their position to parole him to his mother. I do support the codes that was mentioned, the 40A. I think substance is still good. Cognitive for me is still good. You still can grow. The mental health, talking to a professional, talking to a therapist, just so that he's able to understand blind rage. You know, when he gets his emotions high, then he goes into the modes that led him to where he's at. And stalking is one, you know, and how he act out those situations are not the characteristics in having a trustworthy, respectful, endearing type of relationship. So I'm hoping that he will be receptive to professionals and therapists that could be helpful towards his growth in working with others, with also having some religious or spiritual foundation, and potentially, hopefully, looking at mentors that could be a good positive role model for him.
All right, thank you, James. I too am going to support the department's recommendation. I thought it was a pretty good interview. I have some of the same, I guess, flags that you've expressed, James, and but I think there's jobs out there plenty with the jobs that he said that he's going to apply for. And if he would put his nose to the grindstone, so to speak, I think he's going to be able to make it based on the treatment that he's also had and the new and different information he has learned. So I'm going to go ahead and deliver our decision. Mr. Singleton, you were able to hear our conversation. We're going to move you forward today based on the department's recommendation. I would just say to you, lean further into that tech to connect. It sounds like that's made a real difference for you. Some aha moments. Yeah, opened your mind. That could be the huge door that just opened to help you on your pathway forward. And I would also say you need to listen to your mom.
That's facts.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, there's jobs aplenty out there. In fast food, I see them hiring all the time at a pretty decent wage. So if that's what you're going to do again, that's great. Lean into that job, make your money, get your path forward. So today we're going to move you forward. It's a PGD3, means we're going to parole you directly out to your mother's home. In addition to that, there are some things that we want you to do based on our conversation that we've had today and the things that we've read that we think are going to help you be successful and lead that life you say you want to lead. And that is to get involved with a substance abuse counselor, talk to some people, see what your baseline is, where you're at with your substance abuse needs. And then also mental health. We think having a mental health professional that you can talk to and share your, hopes, your dreams, and your fears with is a really good idea.
I think Tech to Connect said they can get me into something like that.
Yes, and so that was the other thing, is that James had mentioned cognitive, and I'm fine with supporting that as well. Were you, Renee? Yeah, so we're fine with supporting cognitive and adding that into your 40A, because you're right. The Tech to Connect program, we consider it cognitive, but it looks like it's really a holistic wraparound program. And thank you for mentioning that to us again. We appreciate hearing that from y'all. So we're looking at substance abuse, mental health, and cognitive. Follow the directions of the experts. They're there to support you and guide you, not to, knock you back down, but to help you so that you can achieve what you say you want to achieve. And lastly, there's a 50A. We want to make sure that you don't drink any alcohol, you stay clean, open-minded, and focused. So we don't want you to enter any type of liquor stores, and nor do we want you to go into any bars that don't serve food.
All right.
All right. So you could go to, some people would think of restaurants, that have a bar in them. Those are okay. Just don't belly up to the bar.
Yes, ma'am.
Make sense?
Yeah, it makes plenty of sense.
All right, perfect. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, well, we wish you all the best.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Mr.
Good luck, Mr. Singleton. Take care of mama.
Thanks, Tori.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next month.
Bye.
Okay, so let's unpack this sorry excuse of a parole hearing. You really would forget, and we'll go over his 100 criminal activity arrests or whatnot that he's been. We'll go over that list, but let's remember that it wasn't that long ago that a jury found him guilty, that a judge gave him a sentence where his good time date was 2035, and there's a reason that he got that sentence. This isn't just a tough on crime. This is Iowa. You should see had decades he's been getting away with just harassing the community around him. But he's found hiding under the woman's bed with a knife. That's what he's caught doing. That is what he's convicted for. But would you know that with the Iowa Parole Board? Did they ask him why you had a knife? Did they ask him why he's under the bed? No, instead they're talking to him and they're like, "Oh, you're so great. What do you call your mama? Oh, that's great. How do you feel about your relationship with her? Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, good job." I mean, it's like they're talking to 8-year-olds, but not only that, it's as if they believe that in this 25-minute parole hearing, they are going to solve all the problems. They're not there to understand and dissect, is this man ready to be paroled? Is he accepting accountability for his crimes? Does he understand what he did wrong? What is his plan moving forward? Is he going to be a good person to make a bet on or not? Instead, it's like they want to spend the 25 minutes to fix him. And don't take my word for it. Let's look at what the judge says when he appeals his sentence. This is what the judge says. Okay? So, here's the district court explains its reasons for imposing the sentence which he appealed. Mr. Singleton, I've looked at your PSR report. You've had 45 convictions, many of them assaults, and you've had 5 jail violations while you were in jail, one with assaultive conduct. The other thing, since I did the jury trial, is that you were under the victim's bed with a knife in your hand. You indicated in your statement that you didn't take out of your pocket until you that you didn't take that out of your pocket until you are crawling out, but the court finds that not to be credible. And also this stalking issue, you violated a protective order knowing that you had the protective order and you were prohibited from contacting the victim. The other thing that the court notes is that based on the testing analysis done by the pre-sentence investigator, you pose an intense risk for further violence, and I don't disagree with that given your history. You are 40 years old, and you have multiple pages of criminal records, which we'll go through, which again, a lot of it is assaultive in nature, and a lot of them are DV batteries. So the court finds that you are an intensive risk for future violence based on those factors, as well as the fact and the circumstance of this case, and find that a period of incarceration is warranted, and also the counts 1 and 2 should be served consecutively for those reasons. We find no abuse in this discretion here. The court could reasonably infer that Singleton's record that he posed a risk for future violence. And that's the statement that the judge leaves. But you think the parole board took one glance at that statement? They think that he's actually saved to coach him, to tell him what to do, how to feel, how to move forward going on with relationships. They're like, well, what are you going to do in the future with relationships? I'm not going to have any. I'm going to have no relationships. No. Well, that's probably not possible. You're going to want to have one, like you said. And it's crazy. I mean, the conversation, there's so many things wrong with it. It's hard to really align my thoughts on where to start. But I think one that sticks out is just again how they are. It's like they are talking to a child, and it's like they believe that this interview is a small conversation which will allow them in their brilliant with their genius to teach him exactly how to succeed in his parole. And this is dangerous. This is so dangerous. I mean, again, I predict we are going to record a tragedy. The news is going to pick up and see this parole hearing, and all hell, HE double hockey sticks, LO will break loose. Wow, that string of words was kind of like this parole hearing. I have my moments too. You know, even I felt like the woman, the counselor who was sitting next to him during the parole hearing, I felt like she was reflecting how I felt. Maybe many of you felt. She was like rolling her eyes and like she looked annoyed with the questions they were asking. Like it was just crazy. What do you call your mama? Oh, that's great. Oh, do you respect her? Do you listen to her? And this parole board, we see it over and over and over again. It's insanity. He's a fully grown adult male. He's born in 1977. Let's just go over this for a second, and we'll touch on some of the crimes too. It's disturbing. It's so disturbing. I don't think in Iowa they have DAs. They don't have like whatever it is that they do. So a Davenport man facing a string of charges and after police say they discovered him hiding under the bed of a woman who had protective order against him. I mean, can it get more dangerous than that? He broke into her house and was hiding under her bed. What do you think was going to happen? He now faces burglary, stalking, a number of traffic-related offenses. Last Thursday, March 30th, responded to a woman's home around 4:45 p.m. to investigate damage at her home that included a broken window. Police said they found him armed with a pocket knife hiding under the woman's bed, at which point he was disarmed and handcuffed. A complaint filed in Scott County report that the woman already had a protective order against him, and that on one day before he was discovered hiding under her bed, he had been following her in Bettendorf, Iowa, while also harassing her on the phone. The complaint says Singleton fled when Bettendorf police tried to stop his vehicle, and he faces a number of charges in connection with that incident. Now, let's go over his crimes. Thank you, Richard, for pulling it up. Remember, it's 100? It's 100. It legit. I mean, think about this. A man who is just terrorizing a community, and he gets sentenced as an habitual offender. 2035 is his good time date, and he gets paroled after 6 years with that parole hearing. And I also want to make clear, I don't blame him for his horrible parole hearing. I think you kind of get what you get with that. He did the best that he could do. I mean, you know, I don't know what you were going to expect. The parole board is just disturbing. They're nuts. I mean, during the interview, when they were asking him a very simple question, which I felt he didn't quite understand, I forget which one it was. Was it like, what are you going to do when you get out, or what? And I thought I could feel the anger. He was getting angry, like frustrated. His innate frustration was coming out in a parole hearing because he didn't understand the question. And they, instead of challenging his frustration and anger and maybe saying, hey, does he have an anger problem, and poking and probing, they're like, I'm sorry. Let's see if we can reword this. It's messed up. Okay. So it starts off in 1994. That's at least when our records start. So driving a suspended license, whatever, not a big deal. Then 4,495, carrying weapons. Okay, that kind of sounds scary. And by the way, it's armed with a blade 5 to 8 inches. So found under a bed with I know you say a pocket knife, but there there are certain places and states where I believe when people are found with pocket knives and it's used against them wrongfully. This is different, in my opinion. It's not like he's, I don't know, whatever. In my opinion, it's different. Then 4,595 safety belt. Then 526.95 burglary 3rd degree. And remember, when you get arrested for not wearing a safety belt, it's more than that. You're arrested. There's something going on. It's not, he's found guilty. It's a plea deal, right? There's more that happened there. Okay. Attempted burglary 3rd degree. June 1st, 1995, says driver suspended license. Failure to have a valid license. You'll also see in here the sentences that they hand out and how he doesn't really serve them too. You'll see it here. Look, like for example, the armed knife. He was sentenced to 240 days, but probation of 1 year. Maybe that was time served or something, but there's more of it. I'll show you. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so then he has first degree robbery, 95, sentenced to 10 years, found guilty, 214.96. Now, he has, what's interesting is 12,695. He picked up another charge, assault causing bodily injuries. I guess that's all he was out on bond. I don't know. Then he has 11/7/2001, which means that even though he got a 10-year sentence, he for sure was released at least just 5 years later. Fight in public. He was fined $50. That's a real harsh punishment, huh? Then he has 11/28/2001, assault, fined $50. Again, another harsh punishment. Arrested on 12/3/2001. He has DV. He was given a 30-day sentence, but they take DV pretty seriously there, so they decided to suspend 28 days, so 2 days time served. Then he's arrested on 1/14/2002, assault, and he was sentenced to 120 days, but whoa, suspended 120 days. Again, another chance, another opportunity. Do you think he's going to do well with this opportunity that they're giving him? Who would have thought that Iowa was such a lenient state on crime? I had no idea. I really had no idea. 1/18/2002, assault again, sentence 120 days, suspended 110 days. I guess the 10 days were for time served or something. All right, let's see what it keeps going. Arrested on 5/2/2002, financial liability coverage. You guess not driving without insurance. Here's Richard B. providing the information as always. Thank you, Richard. Richard drew this. It's a self-portrait. Half his body is like wolf and half is man, and he's all pretty cool. He is a cool dude. Sir Richard is what we call him. And one day maybe he'll join the show. I've never met him yet. I'm looking forward to it. 5/2/2002, driving under suspended, arrested on 5/6, driving while license suspended. 5/8/2002, stop sign. Then 5/8, he has threats, dismissed. And then you have all these in 5/8/2, which includes domestic abuse, second offense, domestic abuse assault, then 5/8, assault, 5/20, theft, 5th degree. Again, watching this parole hearing, would you have had any idea how violent and long this man's criminal history was? I was thinking when I first should I tell you his crimes before watching the parole hearing? Because you would never have guessed. And I decided to do it. Let me know in the comment section if you don't want me to do that in the future. But the reason I did it is because my experience by watching this parole hearing was first knowing about the 100 arrests. Richard said he has 100, if it's not arrests, it's in his 100 different acts on his criminal history, which is a perfect number. I mean, he blew right past the iconic 69. He's at 100, and I'm sad to say that he's going to probably ruin that epic 100 number fairly quickly. But you would never have known. You simply would not have known by watching that parole hearing. It's insane. It's insane. They got into nothing. Like they did not go under the hood. It's nuts. Trespassing, armed with intent. So let's keep going. Handicap parking violation. The irony in this is he got the $100 fine, the minimum fine for doing that, but he gets $50 fines for assault. Interference with official acts, 2003. Operating vehicle, no consent, 2003. I like how they use these fancy words instead of like stealing, or grand theft auto. No, operating vehicle, like it's a good driving license suspended. It keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. Damage to vehicle, no driver license, open container, safety belts, fugitive from justice in 2003. Mischief, habitual offender, driving while barred, habitual offender. It keeps going. It keeps going. It's exhausting, right? How it keeps going and going. And they don't do anything. He gets another driving barred sentence to 2 years. I wonder if he served, how much of that time he served. You can tell that he didn't spend that much time because sentenced to 2 years. And then as soon as in 2000 no, this is the same one. Okay. 17. In 8/26, 2004. So, maybe he was out on bond. I don't know. But a month later, he gets the same charge. Okay. So, and this is leaving the scene of an accident. So, a month earlier, he's sentenced to 2 years in prison for habitual offender driving without a license. Somehow he's back on the street in a month, and he gets in a hit and run accident. This is so clear that the state is not protecting innocent people of its citizens. It's so obvious to anyone with common sense, but yet nothing happens. A month after getting sentenced to 2 years, he is in a hit and run accident. Make that make sense. I don't even know what's going on here because this is 8/26. A day later, it says 8/27 again, driving while barred, habitual offender. I don't even, it's like he got back in the car a day later and they caught him with an open container. There was like not even any mention of substance abuse. Was there a mention of substance abuse in his parole hearing? I don't think so. Abusive epithets. Look at that one. Trespass, fugitive from justice. Another driving while barred, habitual offender. You would think at some point they would do something. And look at this. They catch him for driving again while barred from driving, habitual offender, and they sentence him to 240 days. They suspend the 240 days and they give him probation. At what point do you say enough is enough? But no, not enough is enough. They keep going and they keep going and they keep going and they keep going and they keep going. And you see how long it goes. It's insane. Who are the DAs? Who are the judges? How does this happen? And then finally, we get up to this most recent crime, which is March 31st, 2017. And he's sentenced to 25 years and 15 years. He was found guilty by a jury. And he's out after 6. He's out after 6 because they said, do you have a good relationship with your mama? Are you going to listen to her? You can't make it up. It's it's like a mental illness. I don't think there's anyone that would look at this and say, this is good. This is the system working. This is what we had in mind when it came to law and order. I just don't see it yet. Yet, those who are running law and order, whatever you want to call it, in this state of Iowa, they think it's normal. And the final line of defense, the parole board, that's the parole hearing that we just saw for this dangerous man, for this man who cannot help it but reoffend. And we are going to see him back if they take revocation seriously. I don't know. He's going to break that 100 mark. And sadly, that's the truth. That's also my opinion. Thank you, Richard, for the info. If you didn't see it, you probably wouldn't believe it, but that's why we do this. And again, I'll make a sad prediction that we're going to cover some type of hearing that makes the news someday. And maybe that can lead to change. With that, I'll let you go.